Hello, and welcome to Scuttlebutt, the War Movie Review Podcast. We're happy to have you with us as we take a look at films from the dawn of cinema to today. We aim to provide a raw and unapologetic review of each film's cinematography, historical accuracy, and delivery. In the process of analysis, certain details will be revealed. These spoilers are only divulged to ensure a fair assessment of each film.
We head to the 38th parallel this week with Dae-hie Kim and Hant Scheepmaker's 1986 Korean War epic Field of Honor. As always, I'm joined by Mike A.
Hello.
Mike B.
Yeah.
And Nate. So guys, what'd you think?
Very uninteresting.
This fucking sucked.
Yeah.
It was one of the worst we've done, honestly.
Yeah.
Not gonna bullshit.
This was terrible. This is on the fucking cusp of fucking Hyena Road for me.
Thank you.
This is
yes.
dog shit. I'd rather watch Pearl Harbor.
Bold statement. Bold
This sucks.
statement.
This blows, and I wanted to like it. It just fucking sucked. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. A fucking Chinaman eats a dog, you get fucking 0.8 stars. Like, I don't fucking care. Like, it's just... Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
I've had a long day, and I had to finish my day with this fucking horse shit of a movie.
Part of the day was watching this movie. So.
It's not good. Yeah.
It's not good.
Go ahead,
Mike. Mike had messaged me today because he watched it before I did, and he said, "Oh my god, like this fucking thing," and I'm like, I haven't watched it yet, and he's like, "Oh, really?" And I said, "No," but right as he was messaging me, I had queued it up to watch it, and right as it started, I saw the Canon logo, and I'm just like, "Oh no," because Canon is usually not a good sign. And yeah, I was like, "Oh god, this is gonna be very what's the word I'm looking for? Exploitation, and it's going to be." I'm not going to be able to see a goddamn thing. It is going to be dark as hell. And
oh God.
Yeah.
We'll get into that, yes.
Yeah, it's like, this is how all canon films are. And it started, and right in the first scene, I'm just like, I'm not falling for your shock value stuff movie. Like, you can have a guy with a bow tied around his dick all you want. I'm not going to get impressed by it. I'm sorry. And from that moment on, my hatred for it just grew and grew and grew, and I just didn't want to watch it anymore.
Do you like Gladiator, Shoeshine Boy? Like, it's just... that popped in, and then he pissed in his own bathing bucket, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, what is going... And, like... Are you?
I'm done. I'm done with my initial thoughts. Yeah.
I'm gonna actually nominate myself.
Okay, go for it.
Micah hates the Dutch, so we know it's gonna fucking suck anyway.
Yeah. Well, no, I also hate the Dutch because they're fucking.
I hate the Dutch after this movie, but I like the Dutch any other time.
So
Michael hates
also
himself.
With the Michael, yeah, a little bit of a Dutch last name there, bud. What are you doing?
Yeah, I got a little
bit of self-flagellating going on here. Yeah, self-flagellating. But no, it's like, dude, I didn't know about the whole canon thing, like because I don't know a lot about film, but like it's dude, when I was like I watched this first, like the Korean version on YouTube. And it was no subtitles, and I'm like, I'm not going to watch this because I don't know what the fuck they're saying the whole time, right? And so then that's why I asked you in the fucking chat. I'm like, do you guys know how to watch this? You're like, Prime. Okay, I have Prime. Let's do this.
I was going to go into this, but you did that. You're going to get it. Go for it.
Okay, so I watch it, and I'm like, okay, it'll be better quality, right? It'll be like the film will be better quality. I can see things. No. So I'm sitting there, and like the first like when they're zooming over shit, I'm like, Jesus Christ, have I drank a fucking liter of vodka and I'm like trying to watch a film? It's like, it's so fucking blurry. It's like, what the fuck what's going on? And then the whole thing is like, okay, this is 1986, okay? Mm-hmm. Platoon came out right around there.
the same year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could see everything in detail in Platoon. And so I'm like, did you film this with a fucking early Nokia brick? Like, before it was even a thing? Like, is that what you filmed this thing with? Like, dude, like, what the fuck are you filming this on? It was so bad, and the tracking was so fucking terrible. Oh god, the fucking everything was just the shot list was awful because it was like it never made any sense to me. Like, why the fuck are you filming it in this way? Okay, yeah, he pisses in his own bucket in his little 55-gallon drum, and then he goes back into it. I'm like, are you trying to, like, I don't know, did you get bit by a jellyfish? You know, what are you trying to do here? You're just pissing into your own fucking.
They're trying to show that he's a disgusting.
He's hardcore.
Person. Yeah, that's what they're
hardcore.
That's what they're trying to show, but it doesn't work.
Terrible.
Yeah.
And then really quick, Nate, and then it doesn't take much more because
I want to get everyone. I want to get everyone's intro. Yeah, I just want to get everyone. I just want to get everyone's intros in before we start.
Everyone in this film, the actors sucked so much ass. The writing was fucking terrible.
What do you fucking talking about? So
what are you talking about? And then also, what are you talking about? As a Dutch, I'm like, are you American? Are you Dutch? Are you both? Are you what the fuck? And so it was just fucking awful the whole way through. The storyline was complete garbage. It was just like, what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like, what are you trying to convey? There's really no story. It's just like, oh, we're in Korea in 51. Okay, that's a shitty time. Yeah, we're wearing fucking M68 3/4 collar flak vests that didn't come out, until like 15 years later, or 17 years later at this point. But hey, we're in Korea and we're Dutch, and it's like, okay, you just fucked the entire participation of the Dutch military in the Korean War over by this abomination of a fucking quote unquote film. So that's my initial thoughts. Bri.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's a very odd film, and I don't know. I really don't like it. It's got no redeeming factors. Oh, and then they kill a dog. And I understand it's a cultural thing, but I really don't care for it. I mean, I was looking forward to like a, UN Korean War film, because as I said in the beginning, so many other countries fought in Korea. Mm-hmm. The Dutch, the Brits, the Turkish, the Greeks, tons of countries. Yep. Yeah, I think there was like 30, however many there were countries that fought there.
13, yeah.
And
it took 3 minutes to list them all out in the title, so you should know what they are.
Yeah, right.
But title call that explains the war and cliff notes.
And then it's 10 minutes of like fucking, ribbon cock. I don't know. It's just it's a very strange movie, and I haven't gained anything for watching it. So yeah,
very strange. The dialogue was so weird to me. Nate wants to say something, then I'll.
I just want to go into my last little bit of my intro because I kind of hinted at that I fucking hated it, and it's not like a difference. But just to chime in on everything, and then we'll launch into it. Editing, nothing redeeming. Sound effects, nothing redeeming.
Oh, dude.
Firing rate for PPSH 41s, and I'm holding up my middle finger for this. Oh my god. Yeah.
Slower than an MP40.
The again, acting, characters, don't give a fuck. Everything's just and it just was absolute just meandering. Every single time there's a right angle turn to the plot, and it's supposed to be like, it's just no, I can't fucking follow this. So this is
one redeeming quality that I want to point out though, Nate, is I did not hear a single Wilhelm scream.
I was looking for.
They couldn't afford it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
They
couldn't afford it.
Yeah.
This movie can't afford a Wilhelm scream.
Gas drums. He walks randomly and gets shot in the cock because that's all he holds. But then the camera changes and there's a wound in his leg. Okay, and the last thing I'll say that is just I don't even want to fucking talk about it really anymore already. But the thing that I thought was really funny, I was like, where have I seen this guy before? The main guy.
I know.
And I realized it was the Clint Eastwood Grenada movie. He was that lieutenant or the guy above Clint Eastwood. That's him.
Mm-hmm. He's in a few things.
Yeah, he's in quite a bit in the early 90s and late 80s. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh fuck, you're right.
And I was like, and I looked it up. That movie came out a year before this.
He was the major. He wasn't.
Yeah.
He was a major.
Yeah. I couldn't remember what rank he was. Yeah, and he's fine
oh my
in that.
God.
But what I really think is this was an influence. I didn't do the research. Maybe Brian has it, and I'll let him talk. He's had it in his
I'm
hands
about
the
to
whole
tell
time.
you.
Is that okay? Go ahead. I was gonna say I want to know who wrote this because the phrases and the language and
It's
the dialogue
weird.
is
Yeah.
not English or
No.
like originated. I can tell that right now. But
It feels like a
go.
foreign film, yeah.
Movie fucking sucks. There we go. There's my intro.
Yeah, so I figure we should give some backstory to this for a little bit. And Nate said a little bit of it I wanted to get into with the lead. But it's interesting because so this was written by one of the directors and a producer who are both veterans of the Dutch Battalion in Korea. And apparently this was written from their experiences. So take that as you will. It was shot in Korea, actually, in ROK in '86, and they had a lot of support from the ROK government. I think that's the correct term to say.
Korea. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
But so a lot of help with that. So hence that's why all the equipment was 1980s ROK, because like the M48 or M60. I will say though, they sounded horrible because they don't have blank adapter stuff. I always love to see a nice M2, especially an M2 with two 30 rounds taped or 30 round mags taped together. So that's nice. Other than that, everything else is wrong. M1 helmets are M1 helmets, but so yeah, it was shot in Korea, or ROK Korea, and so yes, the casting is very interesting. So the lead is an American lead. I forget his name.
Everett
but he was in-
McGill.
Everett McGill. Yeah, he was in Twin Peaks. He was in like 50 episodes. He got very famous for that. Then he was in Heartbreak Ridge, and he was in something else that was very big.
Silver Bullet.
Mm-hmm.
What are some? He was in Dune. He was in the shitty Dune movie.
Yes,
Yeah.
Dune.
The
Yeah.
first one.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he did this. He was an American. But the rest of the cast is Dutch. And what's funny is that the rest of, they're like pretty young, all soldiers' age, like probably late teens, early 20s. They're all known for being on a Dutch TV show, a kids show in the 70s. As kids. They're all kids actors.
Oh, wow.
And then they they do this war movie, a big Dutch war movie. But they have an American lead who doesn't speak Dutch. So what do?
They all speak
You
English.
they speak this American or this like English Dutch version of speak, and it's just so fucked up.
When
they
you're
did it.
going
They didn't.
home.
Everett didn't do it.
I think he was trying to emulate something.
He kept phasing in and out. Did you
Yeah.
notice that? He kept like having like weird like
As the
dialogue
like when
pitches.
he was under the truck, he just sounded American.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then from there on, he was American.
Yeah. but,
What was the saying that he kept saying? It was like blizzard. Oh fuck! It was something. It was like son of a. He kept saying something weird. It wasn't an American.
South Korean
term.
soldiers go to heaven.
I don't know.
No,
Well,
no,
that was-
God, no.
it's funny you talk about
No.
that though, with because
I
all these
can't
guys
remember
being
what the phrase was.
Dutch and stuff like that. Because that's what when I was watching, I'm like, I can't understand a damn word anyone is saying, And but I'm getting like slivers of English in there, so I turn on the CC, and the subtitles didn't know either, because sometimes the subtitles would just say speaks a language, and I'm just
wait. I forgot. The very first lines come in, and I'm like, it's Koreans speaking, and I thought Mike was gonna chime on, and I think he did a little bit, but like, they made me laugh so hard. It was like, I was like, oh, let me rewind it. So I rewound it to them like walking through the thing.
Yep.
That also reminds me of another thing, and I'm going to launch into that real quick, and then Brian,
Speaks
and then
Korean.
I'll give it.
Yeah, speaks Korean.
Speaking Korean or Chinese, and it's like, and the kid's speaking English, but it's so like mush mouth, like early Chinese off the boat dialect. It's just like awful. And then the subtitle guy didn't know what he was saying, so he's just like in Chinese, but it's in English. And then the other fucking thing, and I'm just gonna say it before anyone fucking says it. The music is from 1950s propaganda films because they're in Korea and it's like every 5 seconds.
Yep.
It's like, what is this?
Your mandolins and your flutes. Yep.
Like that, yeah, like Korean pan flutes. It's just like, what is this? And I was like, I laughed at the first like 10 minutes of that, but then when it came on again, I'm like, okay, this is just insulting at this point.
It's like stereotypical.
The last thing I have to say about the film, as far as my research is concerned, and this has to do with the date it came out. This film premiered or was shown at Cannes in 1984 to a very, 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 very bad reception.
Nice.
Very, very, very bad. To the point where they shelved it for 2 years so people forgot about it, and then they released it.
I guess they
in 86 and 87.
That's
hilarious. But this is notorious for getting like one of the worst reviews at Cannes ever.
Well,
and I'm like, I totally see that.
Like I say, it's a Canon film, and Canon. It's funny with Canon films though, like in the 70s and 80s, they're usually just cheap. They're not necessarily Roger Corman level, but like they're just really cheap films that were pumped out. However, occasionally Canon would do like a really good one. Like you'd get like a million shitty films, and then occasionally you get something really good. Because the same year that this came out, Canon came out with Runaway Train. Have any of you seen Runaway Train?
No, actually.
It's really good. It's one of those. It's one of those gems. Yeah, it's like one of those gems where like I'd never heard of it, and I once watched it. And I'm like, God, this is so good.
This is another Waltz of Bashir thing where you tell me it's like the bee's knees, and then I fucking am tortured for like 40
Well,
minutes.
It's not my fault. You have no taste, Nate. So,
all right, whoa.
As you're eating a fast break, yeah.
Whoa.
He's got taste.
Whoa. I'm experiencing taste right now. It's called fat clog. Okay. Yeah.
Listen,
arteries are clogging.
Number two,
so.
If you don't,
number two, I gave Walter Bashir a 7, by the way, just so you know.
I know, because it's unanimous. It has
you
to
gave
be.
fucking Master Commander like a 6 or some fucking shit like that. I don't know why.
I like that one.
I mean, 6 is liking.
I don't have a hard on for it, but I enjoyed it. Next time we hang out in person, I'll show you Runaway Train. But but so it wasn't a surprise to me. I'm like, okay, I've never heard of this thing, but I have a very strong feeling this is not going to be Runaway Train. This is going to be one of their shitty, forgotten movies. And,
it's awful.
Yeah, and I was. It's interesting though because I did think that like I was saying I couldn't understand anything anyone was saying, and I'm like, okay, I have a feeling that because I knew Everett McGill. I'm like that I know that actor. He's American, but I'm like I have a feeling that everyone else is Dutch, like actual Dutch, even though they're speaking English, because they all have this weird accent with broken English, and it's just
the way it is.
The dialogue too. It was like sometimes the dialogue. It was like, okay, these are English words, but in this order, I don't know what they mean. Like there's a part where Everett McGill, I guess he's like the translator guy. He has his guts spilled out. He puts his helmet over his stomach, and he's like Everett McGill says something to him like, "I won't be planting flowers on your buttons," and it's like. What the fuck does that mean?
It's probably a Dutch saying that just doesn't make sense. And also, the guy's name was Appleson.
Okay.
Right? Appleson. That was the guy that... And I'm like... And all of a sudden... Oh, my God. So...
A lot of stuff like that where I'm just like, I don't know what this means.
With that, though, the deaths in this fucking movie...
A Dutch ribbon on your cock is pretty Dutch, I'm just going to say. So... It's fucking orange.
In real life, he wouldn't have had a ribbon on his cock. Just throwing that out there. I guess it's the movie thing, but you can still see his fucking schwanz.
You can see it. I just assumed that like the girl like did that as a joke or something.
It's our movie is shit. So how do we get people to fucking talk about it? Oh, this dude walked out with a ribbon on his cock. So there you go.
That was probably a decision that was made on set.
It's fucking European, but it's European shit. I mean,
exactly.
It's 1986, so it's like, oh, what does Americans not have? They don't have nudity in their fucking shit. So
male nudity, yeah.
Here's an American cock for you to look at. Cool. Not like I can't look at my own, but thanks.
Yeah, exactly. Just look down and be like, oh, that's disappointing.
It's a button in a fur coat,
Every fucking day, yeah. It's like, not good. But anyway, it's like, and then also like the whole fucking.
Well, there's a lot of that. It's like the parts where they're having like a party and stuff. I'm just like, oh, this is going on way too long.
It's terrible.
That's terrible.
That's what I messaged you, and I was like, it's terrible.
It's halfway through the film before catastrophe happens, and then the whole rest of the film is a solo man catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the characters you were supposed to care about are completely gone, and the ones that were there are the ones that you didn't have any time to kind of get to know.
Yeah.
Like, it's worthless. I mean, the movie, unfortunately, like the war, it's very forgettable. So it's just, you know.
Good one.
There's a pun right there. Not really trying to be, but
not
it's
a pun.
like,
it's a fucking yeah.
It's a statement. I mean, I wanted this to be good. I wanted a good Korean War film, and again, strikeout number 3, I think, for Korean War.
Number from like a coalition, like a UN standpoint. Yeah, absolutely. Fucking. Well, actually, no. Okay, let's talk about that really quick, and then we'll get back to this. Every Korean War film we've watched has been kind of shitty. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
Brian?
Well, we haven't gotten to the good ones yet, or the semi-good ones yet. Because somebody in a review said that this was better than Pork Chop Hill.
Oh, wow.
Well, Pork Chop Hill is okay. Like, this is a much shittier film than that. Oh, my God.
I don't know what that person's saying, but okay.
Yeah, you know, Pork Chop Hill. Whatever,
did you watch the same movie I did? Is my question.
Yeah. Even The Bridges at Toko-ri is a lot better, and that's very.
I would say this is probably the worst Korean War movie we've watched.
Yeah, I would agree.
I would rather watch the Korean production ones than this one.
I thought you were about to say I'd rather watch the Korean War than watch this movie.
Well, you still can actually.
This guy was not bad. It was just
tropey.
It was tropey, and it was very like propagandistic.
Korean production.
Korean, yeah. And it's like, yeah, I get they suffered. The Rock guys you got their asses stomped, and I get that. So did the Americans, so did the French, so did the fucking Luxembourg guys, so did the fucking, everybody that was there. But it's like, can we just get one good, like somewhat decent Korean War film that like shows it for what it was? And not have like this bias and this fucking propaganda behind it. Just show it like, this is what guys have told us. This is what we read in memoirs. This is what, from both sides and everything. This is what happened. Can we maybe just get one? Because that war, again, like you said, is forgotten. It's very forgotten.
Yeah.
And World War II even. So you think about this too, like let's put this in a perspective a little bit and then we'll get back on topic. World War II films, most of them are fucking terrible. They're horseshit. They're what people think it was like versus what it was actually like.
What, you mean like Pearl Harbor's not good? What's wrong with you?
I agree with you. I'd rather watch that than this.
You keep saying that this week. Like you want to do that.
Pearl Harbor.
Be careful what you ask.
I know it's coming down the pipeline. I know it's
we have to do it because guess what? Guess what's coming up?
Yeah.
So,
what day does that fall on?
Really?
Are we good? Are we gonna lose? Are we gonna lose
quickly.
4 subscribers again if we do it on the day, or you know?
So, but yeah, I mean, like any World War II film, you get maybe out of like 100, you get 1 or 2 that are decent.
Yeah.
As
our experience.
That's what I mean. And so for Korea though, like I mean, you've got Vietnam War movies. You've got like way less. And so the percentage of like decent movies is going to be nothing. I still haven't seen a good Korean War film, to be honest with you.
Well, that's the problem. And then we'll jump back into what's relevant about the film. Even though this is relevant, but it's about this. It's like exactly what you said. It's you have 2 sides of the coin on Korea War films and the influence that does. Just like mainly with certain political parties, obviously. And you have, a huge Chinese influence on one side and a huge oorah, we're the good guys, blah, 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 bombastic through flames and everything and defend the mountain. I think one of the only good Korean War movies that I think we actually have done was I think it was like number 5 or 4 of our pod, which was the oh shit! Oh fuck! What's it called?
Fixed Bayonets.
Thank you. Yes.
The 50s one.
Yeah.
It was okay.
It was interesting.
It was okay.
Well, think about it. Just. I know it's 1950s U.S. propaganda, but if you think about just the certain things that happened in it, I thought that was a lot more believable and a good representation of things. I don't mean the oorah, da, 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 America, blah, blah,
No, but
blah.
like those guys getting stuck in the cave and like,
right.
oh fuck,
Yeah, it just had more to
Yeah.
do with it than this is our mountain, hold the mountain. Because there's a Chinese one that keeps hitting my YouTube algorithm that's like horribly propagandistic, like horribly.
The Battle of Changking Lake.
Yeah, that one. Yeah, they're all
That's the one that
frozen.
just came
They're all
out,
frozen and everything. Yeah.
Yeah. But what's funny is that's a pretty evenly handed film from what I hear.
I haven't
There was
seen
one
it.
that came out-
I keep seeing clips, and it just reminds me of Stalingrad 2013. So
There was one that came out in 08 or 09. It's called Assembly, and it's about the Chosin Reservoir as well from the Chinese government. And that one's like super duper, like, propaganda-y. But this one was funny. It was very, you see both sides. Like, I don't know. It's we definitely have to do that before long.
I will.
So-
I will say with this film, the only thing I would have to say, and tell me if I'm wrong. Someone combat me on it. I didn't feel propaganda in this.
No, I felt exploitation in this. That's what I felt. I didn't feel like they were trying to push some weird agenda about, the people or the politics or anything like that, but I just felt like they're trying to shove all of this insane shit in our face, so we're shocked by it.
It's a misunderstanding, I think.
But
it's a misunderstanding. Yeah.
That's what you get with canon films, though, sometimes.
Yeah.
It's a lot of
Poster
exploitation. It almost feels like pornography sometimes.
You say that again.
Wow. You do see dick 3 minutes in, so yeah.
I know, that's what
Less than that.
right when that popped up, I'm like, oh, it's gonna be one of these. Okay.
It's like, oh, Mike would like this.
Ooh, shots fired.
We
Hang
did.
as long.
I don't know, because I know you don't listen to the ones you're not on, Mike A. But we did say you would be the one who gets killed by female sappers. So just so you know.
Yeah.
Why? Because I like women.
Yeah, we did say that, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, we all know what's gonna happen.
Someone's gonna
now
fall
forever in
for
that
the old
situation.
cock trap,
I appreciate you. I appreciate you looking out for me.
Yeah. I defended your
the time.
sexuality saying that, so you're welcome.
Thank you.
It's weird how you could justify it.
I don't think he knows
try
how to take that,
justify
but
anything. And like, oh, I'm just looking out for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Like, you can't be mad at me.
I'm being your white knight. Why are you attacking me? Yeah.
oh
Can't argue with
god.
that.
Yeah,
have
Nate's
white
a
knights.
fucking clown.
Oh.
I was gonna say another word, but I chose clown.
I appreciate it.
Yep. So you have to,
Crap people.
because I you've been sending me clips, and I'm like, oh, there's that many beeps that you have to do. Holy
Oh yeah, there was quite a beef. Just so people understand, a short beep is a cut, a long beep is a censor. So if anyone has any questions, if it's a short, like a boop, that means I had to cut a lengthy section of the pod to make it. So
Then you have the long beeps, which
the
there
long
have
beeps
been
is
quite a bit of recently.
is a Gandhi bleep. We'll just say that.
That's what we call
And
it
it's not
in our
just
circle.
me, asshole. It's not just me. It's other people. Other people
Stop.
have been guilty of long bleeps.
Nate, can you Gandhi bleep that?
Yeah, I can Gandhi bleep that.
I got 2 Gandhis in aisle 12.
Again, I'm
yeah.
not wrong, and I wish you would have looked this up, but you still fucking haven't.
I
obviously.
did.
One
I
Rudolph
did.
Hess in aisle
But
12.
am I wrong?
I haven't dived deep into it, but there is essence.
Okay,
of it, so
that's
there.
my point. My
That's
point
all it
stands. You have not fucking researched it still, and that was fucking what 4, 5, 6 months ago. It was a while ago.
Yeah, it's been.
Come on, just do the fucking 5-minute dive. Research what I was talking about, and you're gonna be like, "Oh, okay, he wasn't wrong," even though you had to. Well, you chose to censor that.
Yes, I chose.
So anyway,
half of it.
back on
Anyway.
back on this. Speaking of that, I'm glad they didn't show.
People from Liechtenstein are people. That was the whole dispute. So that's what we had to do.
What?
That was the argument, Nate
What
was
was
like,
the argument?
Liechtenstein's not a real country. But, Mike B, you were really adamant that they were. And it turns out that, yes, Liechtenstein is a real destination on the map. So,
It's the size of like my county, which is fun.
yeah. Yep. Maryland could even invade it.
Yeah. Well,
No,
if they had guns.
yeah, I was gonna say, we're neutral. What are you talking about? Ryan, does anyone want to launch us into a subject? Because I'm gonna lead in with that.
Only film that I've ever seen that has a dud pineapple in it.
Until he
it wasn't a
touches it.
fucking pineapple though.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it was
Like-
so fucking bad. Like the props were so fucking bad.
The little grenade part under the Jeep. Yeah, or
The
under
black
truck. Yeah.
Yes.
polymer or steel at that point. One piece. It's like, okay, Jungle Clips didn't come out until 1961. Okay? So at that point, there's no pin in there. That fucking spoon would have flown off.
So that's what I was about to say, was that when they showed it, when it falls and he looks, the spoon's off. But then when you look at, but then when he jumps on it, and the spoon's on, and then it just explodes. And I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like it was a landmine or something. Yeah.
They literally, if okay, there's two scenarios, and I'll walk you through both of these. If I was sitting there and I was dumb enough to get my foot run over by a fucking deuce, or actually it's an M37. It's not even a fucking deuce and a half. It's an M37, if you look closely. And I managed to get out of there. I would take that thing and I would just throw it as far away from me as possible. Okay? If it didn't have the spoon on it. I'd be like, okay, the fucking fuse is probably burned out before it got to the charge. Not a big deal. Get it the fuck away from me. If the spoon was somehow still on the fucking fuse with that model of grenade, which is supposed to be a Mark II A1, I'm gonna go, yeah. All right, well, we're gonna throw it the same distance, and it can explode. Maybe, but why the fuck was that fucking spoon on the fuse still? Even it was a continuity thing. Okay, we can forgive that. It happens. If the spoon is still on there, that means the pin wasn't pulled on a Mark II A1. It's as simple as that. There were no jungle clips. There was nothing like that on the fuses. And also, these were like poorly cast, disgusting fucking replicas.
Disgusting.
They weren't even like the training grenades. They were disgusting. Like they were black. They were painted black. And like, no, that's not what a fucking grenade looked like in the Korean War. End of fucking story. Like, that's just it. Terrible props.
I have a question for you guys. Does anyone know if there's an IMFDB for this?
I just realized because I tried to look it up.
It's Field of Honor. It's the other Field of Honor we did.
I was about to say that. I was like, this is the same title as that movie about the Franco-Prussian War that we watched. That movie
shit!
That movie was also called Field of Honor.
Just recycle it. Yep.
Yeah, and that's the only one on here, so I don't think there is one for this movie.
No, this movie's forgotten.
This movie has 5 stars on Amazon, by the way.
Probably by one person.
3
out of 100.
3.
Or like,
well, there's some funny reviews
3.
if you read them. Because there's one guy that's like, I don't know why this movie gets a bad rap. I was stationed in Korea. You know, this is a great movie. I'm like, well, that explains a lot. You know?
One of the top review, it just all that was written just says entertainment.
right.
That's all it says. It just says good. The title is good movie. Then their review is just entertainment.
What's funny though about this film too is that if you really think about it, like everything happens because Sire, the main character, is an idiot. Like when they go to the front and he gets his whole platoon drunk and the Chinese break through, it's like, well, that's your fault. You know, like all these things are your fault.
It was he's like,
and also that's a 2-minute battle. Like it's like everybody's dead.
It was all
except for him, and
it was all
that scene where he kills his friend though is pretty gruesome. I'll give him that. That's probably the only good part of the movie.
That was so retarded. Like, come on, Brian. Like, so yeah, he's burned, but like that acting, quote unquote, that was so fucking egregiously shitty.
I would say
someone covered in burns.
You have to take the. I feel like for this movie, I do understand what Brian's saying in that sense. I think the concept of the scene.
The concept, we can get into that in a second.
The concept of, and this is what I kind of want to tie back to what Brian said earlier, is that these are accounts of, theoretically, I don't have any proof to say otherwise, but theoretically these are you know, taking
those written down memoirs,
from memoirs and real people's experiences from the people who I think wrote it or something around that.
Yeah, there was 2 guys that Brian said,
and
right,
I'm not.
Brian?
Yeah, and I'm not
producer and director,
and I'm not downplaying the situations. Not at all. I think the situations are real.
Correct.
And I think this movie kind of ties into like almost like a survivability experience halfway through, which I think that is something that is very an interesting concept to go with. However, the execution of those concepts on a film poorly and bad and just not good, and that's fine. Like, I would have to say, just speaking from personal experience, there are great concepts that I've had that I've tried to put on film or do in film, and they don't come out the way I want, and you just gotta do it. You just gotta get it done. And I understand that. So like when we harp on shitty, I just want to say this: it's like when we harp on shitty films like this, I always try to take into account the effort it takes into that, but it's more of like, maybe you shouldn't release this. It sounds egotistic and shitty to say it loudly, but it is. I mean, it's like the execution of these ideas is flawed, and that's fine. It's 1986, doing it all on film. We did a project recently on film. I can't imagine filming a movie on film, so I understand all of the things that go into this. However, I have to hold it to a candle of other films that I have watched within my life, and unfortunately it just doesn't hold up anymore due to what is out there now. And but Brian said with Canes, I mean, it was even horribly had a terrible reception for it in 1987, 86. So I mean, it goes throughout the ages, but what I'm trying to say is that I see the effort in the ideas of the concept. However, the execution is just poor.
It almost feels like they had this idea to make a Dutch Battalion movie about the Korean War, and then they had a producer that was like, yes, but you need an American lead and you need an American storyline.
Yep.
Because if it came out, in 86, but it didn't get released for 2 years, that means it was Canes in 84. So it was shot in 83. So let's think like what during that time is really big. And this is still before Hamburger Hill, Platoon, all like the really hardcore films. You're really only talking about late 70s shitty like B action movies and early 80s action films. So like Rambo or that kind of shit. And with that type of influence, you can see how, maybe along the way it got completely turned into, I don't know what the fuck this is. But, it's, you always have to conceptualize these films, for when they were made. And I could see
Rambo 1 is 82,
82,
I think.
yeah.
So, yeah.
It's called First Blood.
So yeah, yep. So,
no, really? I had no idea.
It's not called Rambo 1.
Really, Brian, like,
it's not Rambo First Blood Part 2? What?
No, God damn it.
Hope.
Yeah. So with that being said, you said the two guys that were actually there in the Dutch Battalion were the producer and director.
I believe, yes.
Well, it would have been the producers are the what are their names? Are the Globus and Golan, the guys?
Yeah, they were two Dutchmen.
Oh, okay,
so.
yeah. Globus and Gloman were the guys from Canon. So
if they're producers and they're this high like part in this production, I wonder where the disconnect was.
Somewhere somebody said you need an American, and then they got one, and
yeah, but that itself,
I will. Sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I will side with Brian on that. I think he's right because it's Rambo 2, it's Rambo 2 quotations, but it's right after Rambo, and so it's like you need an American for the action heroes. But who's gonna watch a self-hating Dutchman be Rambo?
No. But here's the thing, Nate, is like, even so you get the American lead, right? That's whatever, fine and dandy, do your thing. How can that sink a fucking film this far down from every detail?
I think a lot of it is just lost in translation. Honestly, like I think the script. I wouldn't be surprised if like the script was originally completely in Dutch or something, and they had to quickly rush it in to be English because it was an American distribution company, an American production company that picked it up. I don't know, but it's funny, Everett McGill, I don't want to like talk shit about him, you know, the lead actor, but
we all have a bad project.
No, it was a bad performance. It was just
look at
it
Matt
was.
Damon in half his shit.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
it was, but the thing is, like throughout the movie, he's like doing all of this talking and shit when it's by himself, and it just does not feel natural. You know, like
there's a lot of talking.
Well, it feels like he's in a play. It feels like he's in a play, and when you're in a play,
right,
you have to speak to the audience. But like, because when I was watching this, I'm like, this would be really interesting if this was done with zero dialogue. You know, this whole thing about being on your own, trying to survive and stuff like that. Have any of you seen the movie All Is Lost with Robert Redford?
No, but I was going to mention that because I've heard of that.
It's about a guy who gets it's like Castaway, but there is zero dialogue in the whole movie. There is zero dialogue.
It's because he's a Greek.
But it just goes. That's the whole thing. It's like you can communicate what's going on with no dialogue. That's like a good director and a good actor can convey that. And
well, and here's the thing: is like I think he could have had dialogue in this one, like minimal. Like if okay, I put myself in his situation. Right, I'm underneath an M37. My unit just got fucking wiped out. All right, my fucking foot is underneath a tire. I cannot move. Okay, not good. There's chinks or whatever. They say in the film, so I'm just going to use that as a thing. There's Chinese soldiers all around me all the time. I have to play dead at certain points. At some point, I'm going to start talking to myself.
Sure.
And just be like, you know, but I know what you're saying though. Is like the whole
natural.
Like the cheesy lines that were the writing that I think they might have been lost in translation. Like it's so. Am I sitting here going, shit, I can get my foot out of this thing? And he's trying to like. He actually, I did appreciate that. Like he was trying to like dig his foot out underneath. I thought he was gonna like try to cut his foot off, and I'm like, come on. But I'm like, you can't do that with a fucking
6.5 hours.
Right. You can't do that with an M4 bayonet. You can't fucking do it, guaranteed. But like he was trying to dig his foot out, and I get that. And then he's got the Chinese soldiers and shit like around him, and he has to stop and like just be lifeless. But like, I'd be talking to myself, and I'd also be talking to Appleson, you know, when he was alive. I'd be talking to him, but I think the amount of dialogue they threw into those kind of scenes was, like you said, it's just too fucking much. Like, you don't need that to convey what's going on.
It feels like, it's when it feels like a performance, it feels like he's saying lines. It doesn't feel like a natural, like how someone would speak to them.
There you go. Yep. That's the thing is, like, you know, we had, I've talked to some actors from Reveille, and they were saying, like, you don't just say lines, you don't just read lines and like perform them. You are them.
Exactly.
And you adapt it, and you go, well, this is what I would do in this situation. And that's why I was cast. And it's like, okay, that makes a lot of fucking sense. You know? Like, oh yeah, you know, like I was just saying, is like, if I was trying to dig my foot out, I'd be like, God damn it, you know, just like shit like that, like, all right, just a little bit more. What if this thing rolls back though? Fuck. You know, and just things like that, you know, instead of like this fucking, this like over dramatic, projected narrative that people think soldiers talk like.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you're a soldier. I get that. But like, you're also a human being. And if you're in a shitty spot like that, you're not going to be just spewing off random fucking tropes.
Yeah.
You know, that the audience wants to hear, like in a play. Because you don't need to do that, and so I'm on the same page. Yep.
Yeah, and it, not only that, but like I say, lost in translation. A lot of the dialogue, I don't even know what the hell he's saying. You know, I don't even know what the hell it means. He'll just say weird things, and it's like what?
And it says gibberish, like in parentheses. It's like gibberish or like whatever
mumbling,
you can understand.
inaudible, yeah.
And so if there's any Dutch listeners that have seen this film, if you wouldn't mind throwing in the comments like what you noticed, like the gibberish. Was it actually gibberish, like just unfucking decipherable, or was it actually like kind of marbled like Dutch they told him to say during those times? Because that would be interesting, because there was a lot of characters that did that. or it said gibberish, like, just whatever mumbling.
Yeah.
It's like, so what does that mean? But yeah.
Speaking of the deuce, or was not a deuce, but it's still a big ass truck.
Well, it's an M37. It's the size of a big pick. It's basically, it's a little bit more square and blocky, but it's about the size of a fucking F-250 or a Chevy like 3500.
Okay, so do you
It's
think
known as a 3/4 ton
do
truck.
you think that guy?
Yeah, it's a 3/4
Do
ton.
you think
yeah.
a single guy could still push it like that?
Yes.
Okay, he could.
Yep.
Okay, that's
Yep.
one thing I was wondering.
Depends on how like dug in it is and like how
Mm-hmm.
much the rivets are, but like yeah, you can actually push those fucking things.
Okay,
The tires are really massive, so it's hard to rut them.
Even
and
Jeeps
stuff.
are really easy to push. It's surprising, all that big stuff.
I've only had to
real
push
quick-
sedans, and they're not easy to push.
Real quick.
Well, it's not made to push.
Yeah.
Remember, as I tell people, if they ever get stuck, there's grab handles for a reason. Like
the Jeeps, Brian, were they good for Korea?
yeah, I think like the one or
Were
two.
you
I
not
saw.
paying attention because you were so fucking
Well,
out of the movie?
It was a
at that
bad
point?
movie. I mean, what does it matter? At that
It
point?
was a lot. Like
What does
I
it
actually
matter?
halfway through, I'm like, oh, I should start paying attention to what they're wearing and shit like that.
Because
I'm like,
that's what I want to follow
Yeah.
in. Because I mean these episodes where a movie's completely shit, it's like it's hard to keep going, especially since it doesn't have an IMDb. It's a short movie. It's only an hour and a half. I kind of want to run into what the weapons are, what you guys thought of like the
Yeah.
I think the North Korean guys in the movie would be interesting to talk about.
well,
And
they're
then I think-
Chinese, but yeah.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I know
Yeah.
they're Chinese. I'm just saying, like, in my
Yeah.
brain, it's like all North Korea.
The enemy, yep.
Influenced by Chinese is what my history books have always taught me. But the and then go into final thoughts. Mike, what's
Just
up?
the whole thing with this is just me, and maybe this is just because this was in the 1980s and this was kind of in vogue at the time. But the whole thing to me felt the whole look of everything, the whole aesthetic felt more like they were trying to emulate like Vietnam rather than Korea. That's what it felt like to me anyway. And again, that might just be when it was made because Vietnam War films were huge at the time. But everything, I was like, I feel like I'm watching a Vietnam film, not a Korean War film.
Yep.
Yeah, like,
Well,
like the radios on the neck, and it looked like Vietnam in this first engagement with like the vests and all that kind of stuff. And it's
Well, the vests were they were M68 3/4 collar army vests
Yeah.
from Vietnam. They no way
Oh.
would they have worn those.
okay, so
yeah,
so in my brain I am right.
So yeah, we'll get into
Those
that here
are
in a
outdated.
second.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they were not correct at all. But like the one good thing that I did like is like Mama-san and all that shit, like the language, kind of like the way they were speaking to the Korean people. That actually was a direct correlation to the Vietnam War from the Korean War. Okay? And so when they put that in there, I did appreciate that homage to this is where this came from. A lot of the speak came from. Okay? Fucky, you want it fucky again? That's what they would say. And like, oh, they didn't swear back then. No, they actually did.
Yeah.
Trust me. And so that was actually a pretty cool touch. I don't know if it was intentional or on their part or not. But a lot of that, like the word
That was all
gook,
improv. That scene.
yeah. The word gook comes from a Korean word that we've talked about this on streams before, but like for new listeners, the word gook comes from a word that Koreans just call other Koreans. Like it's like a friend, like hey, what's up? Whatever. I don't know if we have an actual like, because we have so much slang in American English, but like it's like, hey brother, how you doing?
And he calls me Gook all the time.
I do not.
You're not Korean, fucker.
Oh, well.
But no, so like for people that are listening, like the word gook was not it didn't come about in Vietnam. It came about in the Korean War. And then it was carried over into Vietnam, and it was just kind of used as like a thing, and the Vietnamese, I don't know if they recognized it or they just went along with it, but like yeah, they're just like
They're more like, who's the occupier for the next decade? Oh, okay.
well, exactly, yeah. We just got done with the French, and
The
now
Japanese,
it's
the French
yeah.
again.
So, but like, so that's
Chinese.
where certain terminology like that comes from, and they did actually do a lot of that shit in this movie, which I did appreciate. That was a good touch because a lot of the terminology for Vietnam came from the Korean War, even though Koreans and Vietnamese people are culturally different. Yeah, and so that was interesting. They were wearing second patterns, okay? Second pattern HBTs, like I'm wearing right now. Woo! Look at this shit, Brian. You like this?
Oh, a nice 7th.
Yep. But they're wearing second patterns, which is most of the UN guys were supplied by the United States. The Turkish guys, the Dutch guys, the Luxembourg guys, the French. Well, the French had their own shit, but they still would wear some US shit once in a while. I did like that. That was a cool touch. The helmet nets, I don't know what the fuck those were. Might have been improvised, might have been something the Dutch had.
Post-war helmet nets is a conversation that it's very muddled very quickly because
that's why I don't want to get into it. It's like because they're olive green,
net, small net,
they're olive green 2-inch fucking nets, and I'm like, where did that come from? But
whatever the South Korean Marines were using, and they had.
Well, that's the thing is I don't fucking know. So, but I'm just saying it was something that stood out to me. The M1 helmets themselves, they had a lot of all of them were the like 58 pattern chin straps, like the buckle, like the ones that went through the 80s. Most of the M1 helmets that would have been issued were still sewn on. They would have been OG7 color, or just the khaki, or I'm sorry, OD7 and OD2. OD2 is the more olive green one.
Sorry.
No, but like you know what I'm saying is like you'd have seen mostly still in Korea, even with the swivel bales, you'd have seen mostly sewn on chin straps. And then towards the end, they started coming out with that experimental shit. And then by 56 and then 58 is when they kind of made the standard for that buckle affixing to the swivel bale. And so that was, in my opinion, totally not accurate because it was so much later for the chin straps, but whatever. Small detail. And then so we're in second patterns, and they're wearing like M45 gear, like US M45 gear, like the cartridge belt, the olive green cartridge belt, the packs and everything. That's realistic for coalition forces that were supplied, especially in 51, because we had a bunch of shit. Their boots, I actually didn't get a good look at them. It says it appears they're double buckles, but when you look at it close, it looks like Type 2 service shoes and like jump boots. So
I did see like what I thought, and then we'll lead into the next. But the other thing I saw was, in the very beginning, it's the only time I saw it when they had the full packs and everything. I saw like German mess kits. Was my brain like completely fooling myself?
Well, they could have been Dutch as well. I don't want to go back and like.
Yeah, I don't ever want to look at this movie ever again. I'm just saying like.
But here's the thing: is that kind of mess kit, that 2-piece was pretty standard from fucking Spain all the way over to the Soviet Union.
That's what I was thinking. It's just the design just retrofit.
Yeah.
So.
They might have had that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't know. I actually don't know. But like they might have had that, and I know they had the M43 E-tool with the cover and everything, which is interesting on their packs. And yeah, it was just okay. It like the gear wasn't great, but it wasn't shitty.
Right.
You
Speaking of the gear, what did the Chinese guys look like? Because I
have no idea about.
I saw M44.
So their gear, from what I know,
yeah.
What their gear, from what I know, is okay.
Okay. Yeah, from what I know,
okay.
it's okay as well. It didn't look unbelievable, but it looked good enough. And I saw, in terms of weaponry, I guess to lead in that, and then we'll probably jump into final thoughts.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to do the gear separate from the weapons.
Yeah.
Because the weapons were actually not bad at all.
Yeah.
Before we get into that, I do want to take a second to get into sticker trivia.
All right. Yes.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, the best part of the
I would
episode.
like to congratulate Dae from California, who messaged us before I was able to wake up on the first day that we released the episode. So, congratulations, your package is on the way. So, mail call will arrive. And the answer to last week's question, which was, what famous Second World War film's production was cut short due to the Soviet invasion of Czechoslovakia? The answer was The Bridge at Remagen. Halfway through production, the Soviets invaded, and everybody left in a long convoy of cars except for one film crew. with like a production lead or some director saying, "I'm gonna film the shit out of this," and then they waited for a month or two, and they had to build another set south of Rome at the Pope's house or summer home, and they were able to piece the two sets together or the shooting locations together into one movie. So pretty interesting Cold War fact.
That movie was 1969, and it's we say that was what they started in Czechoslovakia. A lot of war
68 they shot.
Yeah, a lot of war movies in this, like they would use like Czechoslovakia and stuff like that. So interesting that
it was due all the equipment and stuff.
Right, yeah, but and then
same thing with Yugoslavia for
Yugoslavia. Yeah, that's I think that's where
the Czechoslovakians and the Yugoslavians were, I would say, the least communist, like the least believers out of the entire, well, Yugoslavia especially, because they actually were never part of the Eastern Bloc. But Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia, they were like, oh, a Western film crew wants to come here and pay us money to fucking use our shit? Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's what Kelly's Heroes was.
So, yep, exactly. So
this week's question.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Let's listen. Okay.
What Vietnam War film shot in the 70s is known as the most expensive indie film ever made? So if you have the answer, shoot us a message on Instagram or Facebook, and the sticker will be yours.
How quick do you think it'll be? I think it'll be before you wake up again. I think it'll be before you wake up again.
Sorry, I'm just trying to think of like any other gear discrepancies before we move on to weapons.
Nothing that I could see, and I wasn't honest. I'll be really fucking honest. I wasn't really paying attention.
Too. Yeah. I wasn't really. I was paying attention only like halfway through because I'm like, I should pay attention so we could talk about it. But like the second patterns, yes.
Much when he got injured, I paid attention because it was the least cringe and less things I had to watch and listen to. So it's like,
right. Well, the ascot that he was wearing, it's like, come on, that's very Apocalypse Now.
Cock ring? Yeah, it's his cock ring. Yeah,
it's his cock
ring.
Was it?
Yeah,
it was. That's the same ribbon he tied his dick around.
Oh, Jesus Christ. So he tied the ascot on.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck.
It's the same thing.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It still smells. You know?
Not good. You're supposed to get a whiff of that every now and then. Like, keep you going.
You guys don't have the Yankee Candle called Dick Cheese?
Yeah, get that fucking smegma rolling up in your nostrils. Yeah. But anyway, that's Brian. Did you notice anything else?
Fat Camp. Sorry.
Did you notice anything else before we move on to weapons?
No, the only thing I'll say is with helmets, like you were talking about, is like Korea is funny because you can have a pig and a poke. You can get a Holly liner with early J hooks.
Oh yeah.
You can get a T1 with late war, black A washers. It's all over the place. There really isn't a standard until after the Korean War when they're able to figure shit out because we were giving so much away and we were using so much. Like fixed bales show up until the
80s,
end of Vietnam. Yeah, even the
80s. Like
I knew. Yeah. Apparently, a friend of a friend, he was in Beirut and he got issued fucking khaki 1911 pouch for his like fucking 1911 in Beirut with all his green gear, like nice. Dated 1918.
Yep. World War I surplus. Hey, it works.
Not even he's in the Marine. He got it. It's like the fact that somebody brought this to fucking Lebanon. Like somebody's like, yeah, fucking put it in the Connex. That's good. Like what the fuck? Anyway.
Yeah, it's still got NSN at that point. Yeah.
Yep. But helmets are a pig and a poke. The Chinese looked okay. I mean, they're hard to say for the whole war because they were mostly a volunteer force, and they really only mattered in 50, 51. By like 52, they had used most of their weight, and China was really only supporting the South with munitions and things. So it was really the winter and the spring offensive in 50 and 51 that the Chinese had any real weight. And so that's like it's hard to say what they used because it was a huge volunteer army of like 300,000 troops. So you get just whatever you were wearing in the Civil War that's in a closet. Hey, here you go.
I would say like the last thing I want to say about gear is like talking about that. We're in mid 51 at this point, right? And I think a lot more of those Chinese guys would have had helmets at this point.
You don't really see Chinese soldiers with helmets at all, or even rocks with helmets and stuff. It's interesting. Or sorry, I should say Norks or whatever the correct term, the NVPA.
I don't know. It was because they were all Soviet helmet and Polish and whatever at that point. Yeah.
We used to do like Korean War reenacting, and I looked into a bit, and no, helmets were like not a thing from all the research, and the guys that we were working with were really into it. They knew their shit, like custom made uniforms, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And this helmets just don't. It's kind of like the NVA. It's like, you know, it's hit or miss, and it's really
exactly. Yeah,
not
it's also unit dependent.
Yeah,
Because a lot of them, like a lot of the Chinese units, like would have been issued that shit before they went over, and so most of them had
anything,
hats. Yeah.
I'd put money on you'd see an M35 if you're going to see a helmet. You know?
Well,
or a Type 90.
That's a Type 9. That's what I'm saying. Like,
Of anything,
it would have been cool to see like 1 or 2 dudes with a helmet because like they were there, you know.
The nature of the fighting too in China was more of a guerrilla warfare fighting. I mean, besides the early city battles, I mean, most of the Second World War was just hit or miss. The Chinese Eighth Route Army, whatever. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really feel like they had a culture or the need for like, you know, a long sustained. It's a very hard question.
Yeah, that thing is like, again, that's my opinion. It's not a fucking whatever. It's just like
You're only going to see photos of dead that have been ransacked too. So you know.
That's very true.
Yep.
So, all right, want to move on to weapons?
Yeah.
I only remember seeing M1 carbines for the.
I saw
Garand.
I saw
Garand 2
Garands, carbines, and then the
M44.
rest-
No, it was a Type 53.
Oh, same thing basically.
Yeah, it is, but it's got different markings on it. But that
Yeah.
was a great fucking touch.
Oh, and at the
I will
at
say.
the end there was a Browning M1919.
Oh yeah, on the guy's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then
And-
there was
yeah.
there was a Tokarev.
Our old sergeant.
Well, there was a Chinese Tokarev at least.
No, I don't know what the fuck that was. It was so blurry. Like I can't even.
It
tell.
was a Chinese
did-
Tokarev.
It didn't look like a toque though.
It was a Toke. I paused it. It's
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
It was that, and then there was I saw a few Mosins. I was looking for, and then a PPSH 41, and then I was looking for SKSs, but I didn't see any.
Yep, I didn't see any either.
Yeah.
And that's the movie.
And that's it.
But the fact that they had the Mosins that you're talking about are Type 53s, and it's basically the Chinese licensed
Chinese
version.
copy
Well, not
of the-
not even licensed. It was the they sent them fucking machinery to make them on.
Yeah.
Which is funny is that they weren't making them yet.
Well, they also weren't making the
1951.
Chinese Tokarev, so it must have been a Soviet one.
Yeah, it all had to be Soviet surplus.
Yeah.
The
So you're right. There were M44s. You're
the
correct.
goddamn gun sound effects were terrible in this. Like when he shoots that child in one of the first scenes, he turns on and it's like that was the sound effect. Yeah, like really? Shut up! Yeah.
I did like that actually, where he's just like, "Will you shut up?" And it's like he just yells it, and you hear it echo as well on the radio. And I just thought that was. I actually did like.
That's
that
what I wanted to
one
say
part.
to.
That's a fantasy. That's a fantasy of every fucking enlisted RTO talking to a fucking officer on the
That's
radio.
what I wanted to say though to every single Dutch actor that spoke in this movie. Every time they
Every single Dutch man.
every
you
time
mean?
they
God, dude,
Is that what
your
you tell
hatred,
Dutch people
you're
when you
not,
see him?
Yeah, you're not even masking your hatred anymore.
One time
man.
I was in an airport and I beat
Yeah.
up a Dutchman because
Yeah.
he wanted to use the bathroom.
Sorry,
before
dude.
me.
Like it's not my fault that I get annoyed. You know, like it's
Yeah.
It's not your fault.
yeah. I can't control it, dude.
Is it because they're Dutch? Yeah, we know.
okay, Dexter.
Well, yeah, come on.
We're
Jesus Christ.
we're
You don't even hide it anymore.
no. The Dutch are depressed, my friend. Yeah, we hate each other.
The self-mutilation, the self-hatred.
You hate each other. You are Dutch.
I know. That's what I mean. Yeah.
You don't hate each other. You hate yourself.
Oh, I hate myself. Okay, sorry. Yeah, I should have said.
I can't wait till they like end up going to Holland to like shoot a World War II movie, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're not allowed.
You're allowed to come here.
Dude.
I have 2 K's in my
Like,
name. I'm Dutch.
That's too many, motherfucker.
Oh no, you're not allowed here.
It should be like
Yes, you're not allowed here.
You're not
Yes,
allowed
you
to
can-
wear orange ever again.
goddamn.
You go
stupid
back to
accent.
the United States where you belong because you don't understand.
Unless it's wrapped around your dick, you can't wear it across your head, okay?
I mean, it makes
So
sense.
Mike has to
wear
strip
such-
down and
that's why
fucking
you
wear
wear
a
such
bow
tiny
tie
hats.
around his dick.
On that note, we should launch into final thoughts. Who wants to jump
That's why
in
I always walk
first?
around with my Polaroid.
I'm not gonna say anymore. But
Not a cell phone, but a
Hinge,
fucking technology from the 1980s.
Yeah.
Random tangent,
Now
but there
flap it around and wait.
Kubrick.
He's not floppy enough. If he was more floppy, we might let you in here for 2 weeks, but we cannot do this.
Stop talking like that, god damn it.
I know, right?
Kubrick would use Polaroids for continuity, so there's all these great ones from all his films where it's like, don't touch this shit. So it's like all, and then photos of him like on set. Like,
that's a good idea, actually.
That's
it's great. It's excellent, but it's just funny to like think of Kubrick.
I know that's how they always used to do. That's how they always used to take, track continuities. They just take Polaroids of everything.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
it's a fantastic.
There's a lot of like, I mean, when they're doing RoboCop, like there's all these photographs of like Peter Weller's face because of all of the marks on his face. They wanted to make sure it was all accurate. So yeah, they'll just take Polaroids on set.
There was even a version of the instant photo before the Polaroid in the 60s. It was like an attachment to your camera and stuff. That's really cool.
Yep.
So who wants to go first?
Who wants to hate fuck this on the last bit? So. Of course, the man who hates the Dutch wants to go first.
All right, I'll just fucking go first. I usually don't. I
usually go first.
Let's do this.
So.
Get it out of the way.
Yeah.
All right, so this movie, I started watching it, and I messaged both Nate and Mike, and I was like, this is fucking awful. And I meant that. It's terrible. Like, the whole context of, like, yeah, okay, you're fucking local horrors that really don't really consent, but whatever. All that shit, like that trope of, like, in wartime, okay, yeah, things happen like that, okay? But it was done so distastefully. It was fucking, I don't know, it could have been more realistic, but I don't know. Maybe that's how it happened. Who gives a fuck? It was so fucking terrible. And then going on, and then all of a sudden, like halfway through, there's no fucking story after that big battle. And I'm like, okay, the acting was absolutely horseshit. I mean, like, absolutely fucking horseshit. The cinematography was dog shit. All right? It was, no pun intended. I'm not trying to, like, create a pun, but, like, okay. The dog, why is it there? Oh, it's so we can kill it later and, like, get you the shock effect. Woo! The kid taking money for the fucking family. Okay, weird. The overall thing, like the whole combat shit, whenever the whole trying to make it, realistic to the Dutch experience, I don't think they fucking nailed it. It's like, why don't you actually take what these guys said and do? And here's the thing: is if this is what these guys were advising and like producing and directing the film on, and they were okay with that, it's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's not good. In any respect, it's fucking terrible. It was so miserable to watch this shit, and the quality of like the cinematography was very fucking poor. I'll let Nate elucidate further on that, but yeah, this was very painful to watch, and this is among one of the worst films we've watched for this podcast, in my opinion. So I'm gonna give it a 1.6 out of 10.
Damn.
Yeah, not good. Terrible. Nate.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah. This movie was everything I've already said. I mean, I really wanted a good I still want a really good Korean War film, and I have not yet gotten that. It's sad because I feel like this was of the era of the Vietnam War films that we tend to either pile on or give references to, or that made huge strides in war cinema and all that kind of stuff. However, this does not do that, and it's a shame because I see the effort in some of the aspects. To chime in on what Mike B said about the cinematography, it's absolute minimalistic. I don't know if that's budget, if that's experience, but I've seen better camera angles in a BBC take-home movie, as as one of our highest rating films is that. So the cinematography is absolute crap. The shot placement is terrible. I don't know who did that. There's reusing of scenes. You see the same eyes of the kid like 8 times through that whole like scenes in the houses. It's the same clip over and over again. Just nothing special. It's PPSH 41 garbage. Just it doesn't work. There's the things the things I'm picking out in my brain, just off the cuff. But the acting is terrible. But we've seen better movies with shittier acting. I feel like, I think the disconnect with this film is the pacing, and I think the disconnect for this film is the story itself, and the whether or not they're using Vietnam gear or not. There are a few things that I thought were good, but the majority of this film is trash. The music, what the hell? Okay, like interesting. Just dude, Chinese pan flutes once is funny. Chinese pan flutes every single time.
Yeah.
No, it's not 1953. We're not killing the Korean, the Koreans in The Wire right now. This is 1986. Like, come on. It's just, I don't know. I could go on and on. It's just not everything. Like I said before, I see the attempt. I see the possible idea of real life events happening within the story itself. However, the execution is very poor. But I will never give a movie a lower rating than Hyena Road unless it really does deserve it. So I'm going to give it a 2.5 out of 10 Screaming Mel Gibsons tonight. Hyena Road got a 2, so this gets a 2.5. And I think this is definitely of the category of the movies of never to watch. So.
That should be a whole list right there. Yeah.
I think it has a unique feel. If you want to see a guy's cock wrapped in an orange ribbon, go for it.
How many times have you said that? Yeah.
So. I had to look at it a lot, even from the back.
Yeah, it's
because the dick's because it was that long.
Yeah, it's on screen. It has some significant screen time.
Yeah. So, but like no, I mean on and on. I mean, all jokes aside. It's a poorly executed movie with a limited budget. And normally those movies that we tend to do stuff for normally have a redeeming factor. There's not much redeemable with this movie. And it's unfortunate because I think we all wanted a good Korean War film. Brian.
Yeah, no, I really can't add much to that. Very strange and disappointing movie that's all over the place. It's not really worth your time, to be honest, unless you really want to sift through shit for 90 minutes. So, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10 because it's a movie that they made, and they went to Korea to make it. So,
this is one of your lowest scores. I like that.
It is for most of us.
I respect that.
Well, and they killed a dog, so fuck you.
Yeah.
I respect the culture. Don't get me wrong. I had a really awesome Korean class in college and everything. I get
dog?
it. No, God no. But my grandmother, she had to eat horse to survive the Second World War. I get it. I totally get it. But it's just like it's a really bad movie on top of it. It's like
it probably doesn't help that dog looks like your dog, by the way.
Literally. But yeah, it's a really bad movie. It definitely is in that category of why. So, that being said, I pass it off to our resident Dutchman. What do you think about the film?
Bring it down home.
Accurate representation.
Just make this very, very imbalanced. If you're having some problems here talking about these, just remember that we're all in this together.
My name is Michael Birch from Troll Trace.
God.
How are you?
Please give it a decent rating.
Because
we're not Indian here, Nate. No, you got to hit the Scandinavian accent with the inflection of your voice.
I can't.
He's
You can't
doing
do that.
the Indian voice. Yeah.
I'm from the mid.
What
I'm
are you
from
doing?
I'm from.
You are making a mockery of our self-serve policy. Please get the fuck out of my store.
I'm from the Northeast. I can't do that shit.
You
My
gotta be Packers.
accent's already fucked up. I can't do other people's accents.
Yeah, that's okay, Nathan. We should let the Dutchman talk.
So the Dutchman thinks this is also a steaming pile of shit. I very bored by it, and just again right from the beginning, like I get that they're trying to hook the audience in with some shocking imagery and shit like that, but I just wasn't falling for it, and I'm like, no, it doesn't work on me, movie. And then as the movie went on, they had a lot of moments of violence and stuff like that. I'm just like, pfft, and was not buying it. And I did think the ending was funny. That at the end when he walks up with the little kid and the guy's like, "Oh, do you need help?" And it cuts to the shot of the kid and the kid's face is like. It's like
okay. I'm glad I'm not the only one who thought that. Okay.
I'm just like, what was up with that? Yeah,
it's real, dude. It's First Blood. It's First Blood ending.
Yeah.
They gave a shit about us back home. You know,
it's a long road.
Oh God.
When you're on your own. That's what the movie was missing. But
that is now my text tone, and nothing you can do will change that.
Great.
I do know it. I'm gonna make that a short. I'm gonna put your singing over the music. I'm gonna fucking do that. That's great.
That's our new intro.
Oh, that's great.
Singing the First Blood credit song.
Okay. Yeah, I got an idea.
It's a little fucked.
When I get
It's a
home,
little
I'll get.
I want a trap remix.
I can't wait to hear it.
It's a little fucked, but it's okay. You know, we're going on here.
I have a photo of your belly. What are you talking about, fucked?
So anyway, back to the movie. That was funny, but the rest of it, I was just like, this is stupid. I don't buy any of it, and it's what happens a lot of the times when you enter the world of canon. So I think I'm just gonna give it a solid 2. I'm just gonna go 2. So we're all kind of in that area. So 2 to Field of Honor, the 1985 one, not the 1987 Franco-Prussian War film. That also was named Field of Honor.
Get it right.
That one was
much
bad.
better.
That one was bad, but not bad.
No, it wasn't this bad. It was not.
That
this
suffered
bad.
from more just production quality.
Yeah.
It was a bad story.
I thought it was kind of interesting, but no, this one wasn't interesting to me.
Well, because that one has a purpose. The bull died. Fuck. Mm-hmm. What are you gonna do? You know, that's your livelihood. So this one is just Pepe Silva.
I'm pretty sure this is going to be the lowest scoring one. I don't think we've ever been this consecutively low.
I don't know. I think we have a movie coming up that's pretty low. But what do you call it? So, putting these scores into the computer that will tell us if we will ever have a good Korean War movie. The answer is 2.025.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Do not watch.
I think this is low.
Danger. Stay away.
Yeah, not
we
good.
suffered for you.
It's definitely lower than Hyena Road, I know that. So.
Danger. It's not like you have to look out for it. It's not like this is a famous war film. Like, I've never even heard of this before.
And at least Hyena Road was shot in fucking 2K.
Yeah.
You know, like, not in fucking, like, 90p. Jesus Christ.
90p with
2008 YouTube
with some with jacked up contrast where everything is super black. Yeah.
No, this is like 2003 Live Leak. Like, this is not even fucking YouTube era yet. It's so bad. Like, like I said, like when I went to Amazon and like watched it, I'm like, oh, so it'll be better quality on Amazon.
Maybe it's because I watched it. Maybe it's because I watched it on an iPad. It wasn't that bad. So.
It was terrible. It was so fucking choppy.
Pretty bad. Yeah.
It was terrible. The actual quality. I'm like, you guys actually like spent money on this, the actual camera and the DPs, and like you actually fucking spent money on this. I'm like, even in 84 or wherever the fuck they actually shot it, it's not good.
Thank God this movie was free, though. If Ryan made us pay for this, I would have fucking rioted.
Even then, like, the fact that somebody decided to put this on the internet today is like, who values this, you know? But I think we'll find a fucking.
Well, the reviews are so good,
film.
though. They're like, oh, this is one of the best war films of all time. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, but you saw that. It's like, Oh my God, are you like...
Well, they're all Dutch. And as Michael says, the Dutch are idiots. So.
Yes, Michael, the resident Dutchman of our podcast, he says the Dutch are idiots,
Going for the...
It's okay.
He sang it to us.
Going for the Dutch jugular on this one. Jesus.
Oh, yeah, you're fucked. I mean, anytime we do anything to do with the Dutch, man, you're fucked.
Van fucked.
You're about to fly a plane into a dike.
How about now?
Yes. Die Forgotten Battle, yeah. He was up there in the Scheldt, but, too bad his last name...
He ran across the dam.
He was wearing a Canadian uniform
The one
time,
dam
too.
in Holland.
He was doing his best. He was wearing a Canadian uniform at the time. So
after he took off his paratrooper one, because that's how that works.
Right.
Ugh.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
no, there's no... It's sad. There's no good Canadian movies. There's one more to go. Hopefully it'll be good. And there's definitely no Dutch films. So...
Yeah, I mean, it's just like,
continues.
God, I want to see it. I want to fucking, like... I wanted so badly. I was like, okay, I want to learn a lot about the Dutch in Korea, in the Korean War. Yeah, no.
We wanted Dutch Korean War, Spring Offensive 1951, and all we got was rock out with your cock out.
Hey, that's pretty good. Rock out are okay.
Yeah, rock out.
Yeah,
I'm going to wear my ascot in the beginning of the film, and then my accent's going to go away because I'm actually an American, and I'm sick of doing this, and I'm sick of shooting this. And so, God, I'm going to put a bunch of cheesy lines out there. I'm going to deliver them really well, a.k.a. shittily. And I'm going to be under a truck, and then, I'm going to shoot this Chinaman. Yeah. That's basically how that went for the main character. So.
That's the whole synopsis of the movie. Yeah, for fucking Sire.
Who the fuck? Oh, my God. Anyway, I don't want to get on that topic.
Last name.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully, if you're still listening, we dodged a bullet for you. Or, you've dodged a bullet because
don't
we have
watch this
taken
fucking
it.
thing.
Don't watch it. It's really bad. But
Scuttlebutt, we waste our time so you don't have to. That's the fucking rule.
We're the saviors of shitty war films.
Yeah.
We're the saviors. Yeah. Let's fucking go, brother.
So we're gonna move in less than 30 minutes. Not my bare ass. You play Sugar Daddy.
Great dialogue.
Was that a line in the movie?
Great.
That's a direct quote from a scene.
Okay, I was like, it was stuff like that from like, what the hell does that mean?
Not my bare ass.
What are you doing? Yeah, it's like
bear, like the way he says it, it's like a bear, like an animal.
my own piss.
Yeah. Anyway, fucking, let's wrap this bitch up.
Wrap this bitch up like a Dutch cock.
In a red room.
Yeah.
And stop.
Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a rating. Otherwise, Mel Gibson won't stop screaming. If you like this content, make sure to check out our Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram pages. If you want to directly support our work, make sure to check out our Patreon. All these links are in the description below. Until the next time, Scuttlebutt out.
We head to the 38th
You ever seen a
parallel.
grown man naked? Sorry.
Nathan, you fucked it up.
He's got to do an airplane reference right in the middle of the
Fucking
intro.
prick.
I love it.
Fucking prick.
Sorry,
We're seeing
go
a
ahead.
grown
Get a
man
drum
naked.
solo here?
No,
Where's the hook?
that would be
Wait,
this will be
Michael,
at the
get
end.
the hook. Please get the hook.
Yeah, this will be at the end of the episode. Go for it. Sorry.
We head to the 38th parallel this week with Dae-hie Kim and Han Scheepmaker's 1986 Korean War epic Field of War. Or fuck.
It's called Field of War. Move on.
Field of War.
no.
It just doesn't deserve a one take. Go.
I gotta do one more time.
No,
All
it
right.
doesn't deserve a full take. Go.
You fucked up the first time. This is your
Ugh.